Are you looking to reclaim your joy? Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to another Mind Right Monday. I'm your host, Bonnie Kelly. I'm excited today to talk to you about reclaiming your joy. Now, maybe you feel that you've been robbed of your joy because you've had dramatic or painful experience after painful experience. You know, the reality is life sometimes just gives us a sucker punch, doesn't it? And it could really rob us from our joy. And there's other times where things just pile up and pile up and pile up that it just gets so heavy that we can be robbed of our joy. But did you know you can reclaim it at any time? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to share with you my 3 tips and tools on how you can do just that. So before we dive into that though, let me share really quick with you some of the reasons why we might be robbed of our joy. Now, I often say it's an inside job, even though the outside world is influencing us. So what I mean by that is that things outside of us we can't always control, right? Just like if you're driving down the freeway, I can't control the weather, and I can't control other cars, and I can't control if my tire blows out. There's a lot of things that are out of my control. But what is in my control is in here. It is how I respond to these things outside of me. There's an old saying that says life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you respond to it. So if you're ready to reclaim your joy, that means we need to take 100% responsibility of what goes on in the inner world. Now, like I said, we can't control everything, but we can begin to shift and change what's happening inside of here. So that leads me to my very first tip, which is investigate. Uncover what's actually blocking your joy. Okay, so the very first step in reclaiming our joy is kind of a no-brainer, but it is such an important step, is that you absolutely need to investigate, to uncover what's robbing you of the joy. Now, here's the tricky part. It's not the outer thing, okay? If you have a blame statement, that's not going to get you very far because that's out of your control. We are looking forward to investigate the inner world. What is the inner block? What insecurities, fear, what doubt are causing you to feel sad and depressed and isolated? That is really what we're investigating. Because again, if it's because of somebody else or because of our job or because of, life or that it's raining on your wedding day, right? That stuff we can't control. So we really, when we say investigate, is to figure out what inside of me is blocking me from feeling joy during this experience. I love the story of Nelson Mandela, where he's famous says that you can break my body, but you cannot break my mind because my mind is entirely up to me. Now, I love that statement because what he's saying is that these things outside of us can be broken, but inside of us is up to us. So you need to investigate where your blocks are and begin to start to question them in a way that'll allow you to reclaim your joy. Okay, so this leads me to my second tip, which kind of piggybacks on the first one. So my second tip is untangle and break through. All right, so after you investigate, which is the very first step, now you need to do something about that, right? We need to take action in the inner world. So what I mean by that is that we need to untangle whatever you found, whatever you discovered. So this means you really need to dive a little deeper than probably you were going in the first place, of really asking, well, why is this fear so big for me? Where else has it showed up in my life? Where else has this played a reoccurring trend in my life? What insecurities come up as a result of this? When you begin to start asking the harder questions and really kind of being like a 5-year-old who's relentlessly wanting to know why. Why does this bother me? We can begin to untangle it with a lot more ease. If you're not able to get into the nitty-gritty and begin to untangle these things, then you're going to get stuck on them, or they're going to continue to show up and they're going to continue to sabotage you. Now, once you've been able to really see how it's rooted in the mind, rooted in your heart, because fear by itself isn't by itself. It's connected to a lot of thoughts. It's connected to a lot of insecurities. It's connected to a lot of doubt. And so when we can trace that out in the mind, you are going to have the bigger picture. And it's much easier to break through when we have the bigger picture. So now the breakthrough is where we choose, and that's the conscious choice, to think or feel or do something differently. So your breakthrough means that you need to think differently about what you're untangling, to feel differently about what you're untangling, and do something different than what you're untangling. So that means that you need to think outside the box. This is where sometimes hiring a coach, asking a friend, joining a program, doing something to help get those skills and those tools on what specifically you need to break through. But we often need ideas outside of us to do that. So let me end this section off with a quote, which is, "The more time you spend thinking about yourself, the more suffering you will experience." The Dalai Lama. Now, I wanted to end this section off with this quote because this is the imperative notion of taking breakthrough action. Because what will happen is if we just stay stuck in the investigation and the untangling, you're going to spend a lot of time just immersed in your suffering, immersed in your pain. We need to break through of that. We need to break out of that. And that's what's going to allow us to end some of that needless suffering. All right, so this leads me to my third and final tip for this week, which is pay it forward. All right, so the first two kind of went hand in hand. Well, this one is going to be a little bit different. When you want to reclaim your joy, that kind of means you need to get out of your own way. You need to get out of your own mind, and you need to get out of your own life for a minute. And I know that seems counterintuitive, especially if you're struggling, but there is no better way to change in the inner world, to change your inner feelings and your inner situation than to go do something nice for someone else without the expectation of a thank you, without the expectation that you'll get something in return, but to do it just to do it. There is nothing better than paying things forward to give someone else the thing that you feel you're missing. Maybe it's love or kindness or just generosity or fun or being funny or playful. You know, smiles are infectious, but a lot of times we're all frowning around that we forget to just smile to one another. That's a beautiful gift to offer someone else because that one smile is not only going to bring them joy, it'll bring you joy. And if you could just pay that forward, now all of a sudden your life's going to be filled with more and more joy. So you need to figure out what brings you joy and start to pay that forward out into the world. And if it's kindness, if it's compassion, then that's what you need to do. And that's what you'll start to begin to feel as well. So I actually want to end this section off with this fun quote by Albert Einstein, who famously said, "A life lived for others is the only life worth living." Such beautiful words from an amazing man who changed and revolutionized our world. Hopefully you guys learned something from this week's video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We provide you a video each and every week on different personal development tips and tools. And if you're ready to start your personal development journey right here, right now, then check out my free gift for you. You can start in 10 minutes or less a day getting your mind right. So if you really want to reclaim your joy and you want to change that inner environment, then check it out. It's the 21dayemotionaldetox.com/free. And you can snag the first 7 days absolutely free. It's totally on me. It's an amazing product. It's got your name written all over it. So go ahead and grab it. Links are below. And until next time, I'm Bonnie Kelly. Did you enjoy this week's video? I sure hope so. It was brought to you, as always, from viewers just like you. If you have a personal development question you want to see answered, then email us at getinspired@bonniekelly.me. It's pretty easy. We'll be happy to hear from you. And if you're ready to start your journey, check out all the fun products, tools, and academies we have available for you at bonniekelly.me. Until next time, I'm Bonnie Kelly.